So a soul tie. What is a soul tie? And just so you know, I have notes. Just wanted to write some notes down because I don't want to miss out on anything that's important. So I have some notes, so you're going to be seeing me look to the side, just reading my notes and stuff like that. A soul tie. What is a soul tie? So a soul tie is becoming one flesh, binding together with someone. Usually, this is with intimacy and it's a linkage between two people, linking their souls together, and it can either bring beneficial results or negative results, depending on the situation. And I'm going to read something that I read in a book. It says, every man you are intimate with um, deposits and leaves a part of his soul in you. And then it had like a question at the bottom, and it says, how many soul ties are we walking around with? That's some deep stuff right there, because as women, we, get into these relationships and stuff like that, and we connect with these men through intimacy. We develop relationships with them, and we don't realize that we're building soul ties with these individuals. And the more people that we're with, the more soul ties that we have connected with. And this causes a lot of different things. I'm gonna go ahead and discuss a lot of that stuff in a minute. But these are things that we don't realize a lot of times. We don't think about these things. We don't, we just see it as, we're in a relationship. It didn't work out, let's go on to the next one. But we don't realize the damage and the results and the consequences of these decisions that we make. Um, Me, for one, when I was younger, I had a lot of different relationships and stuff like that. And one relationship, and I'm going to be very honest with you, very open with you, and very transparent with you. It's the whole point of this video. I was in a relationship, was married, and he was very, how do you say it, controlling. He was very controlling. Um, he loved me in his own way, but he was controlling, he was violent, abusive in many different ways, and it was just a nightmare. It was really a nightmare, but because I had developed so much this soul tie with him, and I felt like I couldn't leave. I felt like I couldn't get out of the relationship. I felt like, it was me, because they when people are controlling, they make you believe that you're the problem, that you know the problems that you're having is because of you only. And they're very, they try to convince you that it's all you and not them, and unfortunately a lot of times we believe that, and we get depressed, and we're always trying to do things better, and we end up messing up the situation more, and it's just so much to this, and I know that a lot of women go through this all the time. Even those of us that are strong, I consider myself to be strong, like a strong woman. But I fell into this, thing where I felt like I wasn't good enough, like I was always making mistakes, like I had to walk around eggshells around this individual, and it's a very unhappy situation. It's a very difficult situation, um, and it's just not a good place to be. Um, Even if you're religious or not religious, anyone and everyone can understand what a soul tie is. Because, like I said before, we get into these relationships and we develop these connections with people, and one day they're gone, and we still stay with all of that inside of us. Um, so this is not limited to like couples. This is also in like relationships, like in friendships. You develop a friendship with someone, you develop a soul tie with that person. It varies. It's not just a couple thing. It's also, this also happens with friendships and stuff like that. How do they form? They form through mostly soul ties are formed through sexual relationships. Obviously, when you're with a partner and this man, injects, inside of you, that's a soul tie. That's a soul tie. So if you have several partners, then this is all these guys injecting all, their their soul into you, and it develops a lot of different things that we're going to talk about. Like I said, there's healthy soul ties, and these soul ties are usually through marriage and stuff like that. And then there's destructive soul ties, and these are the types of when you have various partners and you know just things like that. Like I said before, also they develop through close relationships, whether it's through a friend, co-worker, and stuff like that. When you idolize people, and you want to be like them, and you do everything to be like a certain person, and that's a soul tie that you have with them, but it's not a positive thing. Um, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there that are mentors, and you try to be like them because they're good um, people. They're mentors. They're good people, but when you idolize people to the point where you feel like you don't want to be yourself because you feel like they're better, then that's an issue. And of course, through vows, commitments, and agreements and stuff like that. So right now, I'm gonna get into the negative results, consequences of developing soul ties. And okay, so let me just put this in here. I don't want to lose it. So the negative results, um, I have 10 negative results from developing soul ties. When you develop a soul tie with a person, um, for example, if you have a relationship and you end that relationship, and even years later down the line, you still feel something for that individual, you're still thinking about that person, even though you know that that relationship ended, but you're still entertaining thoughts of what used to be, or no wonder what that individual is doing, or just things like that. Or if you see them, your heart starts beating. Those are soul ties that need to be broken, because you cannot live your life based on a relationship you had 20 years ago. So it's just not a positive thing at all, you know. Number two is when you feel empty, unappreciated, or dirty in a relationship. You feel like there's nothing, it's not going anywhere. You feel like you're trying out your best to do make it work, and you know that person doesn't appreciate you, or you feel like, what am I doing in this relationship? This is not who I am. That's a soul tie, and that needs to be broken. When you're obsessed, number three, when you're obsessed about them. I struggled with this for a long time with that person. I always wanted to know where that person was, what he was doing. I couldn't sleep and I couldn't eat because I was thinking about, no wonder who he's with. You know, even though we ended the relationship, I was still, caught up with his life and what he was doing at the moment. And I had no rest, I had no peace, and those are soul ties that you need to break. It's a scary thing. It gets to be like, borderline, you know, obstructive. So you have to be careful with those things. Number four, a soul tie is when you cannot disconnect from the pain they caused you. Something that they did years ago, you still dwell on that. You still, think about how he hurt you and what you could have done, or man, I should have got back at him, or just things like that. Those are destructive thoughts. The disconnect of the pain that he caused you or she caused you. um, you exhaust your support system, meaning that you're in a horrible relationship, your friends are trying to save you, your family's trying to save you, and you exhaust them because they see everything. They love you, they want you to be happy and whole as a person, but you're so connected with this person that you don't want to depart from being with them. You want to stay in the situation that you're in. um Sometimes I remember there were times where I wanted to leave and I couldn't leave because I felt like this is crazy, but how we feel like we can save them, or we feel like we're responsible for their mental health, and the way they think and the things they do. This is so not right. This is, everyone is responsible for their own thoughts and for their own actions and for what they do. As women, for some reason, we feel like we can save these men a lot of times, and they have to want to be, saved. They have to want to change. They have to want to look for that help. We can't do that. Only God can do that. We are not God, so we cannot do that. So these are the things that we struggle with. Another thing is, you start treating others the way he treated you. So that was like 10 years ago, and now you're in a whole different relationship. You have an amazing person in your life, but yet you treat them exactly how that person treated you, because you have that soul tie with that individual still, and you still carry around all that mess inside of you. So therefore, that next person that comes into your life gets all that thrown at them, because you're still carrying around all that garbage. So it's very, very deep stuff, things that we don't really think about, but yet they're a reality in everyone's life. You know, there's a soul tie when you make excuses for their behavior. I did that all the time. Well, he did this because he's like that, or he went through that, or he doesn't know any better, or he didn't have a father figure. Those were all my excuses for that individual. And that's all BS. And that's the God honest truth. We need to stop making excuses for grown ass people. And we need to start taking responsibility for our own lives and what we want and what we don't want in life. Another thing is, you find reasons for not leaving. you know well, I can't leave because of the kids. Do you know that your kids are sick and tired, and it's more beneficial for them to be out and away of that mess that you're creating in front of them? It's more beneficial for them not to see it and not to be around it, then you say, I'm not leaving because of the kids, but yet you're always fighting, and there's like all kinds of things going on and arguments in front of these kids. That's the last thing you want for your kids. So stop making excuses as to why you don't leave and why you don't want to just walk away from that situation. Another thing is, I'm sorry, I thought I heard somebody at my door. Another thing is, you start believing that your life is supposed to be this way. They people that are controlling, like I mentioned before, they want you to feel like it's you. They don't admit to their problems, to what they're going through and stuff like that. So you start believing it. You start believing them. They tell you so much that something is wrong, and you start believing it. And you just feel like this is the normal. This is every relationship. This is the way it's supposed to be. But that's a lie. That's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be happy in a relationship. You're supposed to trust in a relationship. You're supposed to, have your own life, outside of the marriage. You can, do things for yourself, go out with your friends and, go out to dinner, go out to a movie, have a drink. There's things you can do outside of your relationship with your husband for yourself. Pamper yourself. Go get your nails done, your hair done, just things like that. Another thing is, this is the last one. When you have a soul tie, when you have soul ties inside of you, from different people you were with, it's hard for you to bond with an individual. If you find that right person, it's going to be really hard to bond with that person, to commit and to join together with that person completely. And it's so unfair for them because here they are, wanting to give you everything, but you're limited to what you give because you're all over the place. You have all these, soul ties inside of you that you can't disconnect from. So you're not a whole person. You're all over the place, and you don't give your all to this individual. And that's why a lot of times our relationships don't work out. We wonder why they don't work out, why, we can't be happy with someone, why this is why. We haven't disconnected from old relationships. Um, I'm going to give you 5 things that can help with those situations, disconnecting from all of that. Number one, we need to stop sleeping around with different partners. You know, I know that now the modern thing is to do what you want to do. Nobody can tell you anything. And that's all good, that's all true. You're an adult, everyone's an adult. You live your life how you want to. But if you're going to be, living a life where you're not responsible and, you're going to be sleeping around with 20 different people, then you have to deal with the consequences of that. And that's just the truth. You have to deal with the consequences of your decisions. So don't come back later and be like, oh, why can't I find a good person or a good, that's why. Because you're sleeping around with different people. Another way to get rid of, soul ties is return gifts. If they gave you a ring, if they bought you sexy underwear or bras or whatever, lingerie, anything like that that still connects you to that person, every time you look at it, return it. And that will help you heal from that. And all communication. I know some people that always say, I don't know why this individual keeps calling me. I don't know why, that he's still trying to look out, he's still trying to like hit me up and all of this stuff. Well, he's still trying to do that because you're always giving him your number. You change it 1,000 times, but yet you're still giving it to him. You find a way for him to find you. And, then you want to say, oh, I don't know why he's hitting me up because you're letting him. I know that women, when we make a decision and we're straight about it, and we say this is not what we want and we're honest about it, that's it. They can jump hoops and do all kinds of stuff and they can't find us or connect with us because we said we don't want that. And if he's still hitting you up and he's still, trying to call you and all of that, then it's because of you. It's not because of anybody else. It's because of you. So if you want to get rid of all that, you need to stop all communication with that person in every way. Block, cancel, change your number, whatever you need to do to disconnect from that individual. Stop repeating the same act over and over. You say you're not going to do it anymore. You're good for a month, and then you go back to the same situation. And this is like a roller coaster. This is all the time, up and down with the same situation. You have to make a final decision as to what you want to do. Do you want to continue to live your life this way, or do you want to, um, just have a normal relationship where everything's good and, you build together and you go from there? But if you keep repeating the same things over and over, ain't nobody gonna take you seriously. Nobody's gonna take you seriously. You're never gonna get nowhere with no one, because word gets around that that's the way you are, and that's it. So you need to be careful of that. Another thing is, you need to forgive. That's the last point. Forgive those that hurt you. If you're still carrying around hurt that they did, years ago, then you need to ask God to remove that from your life. Seriously. And start praying and start asking God to just heal your mind and your heart, and bring you back to that place where you're whole, like you're happy, you're yourself. You're not carrying around all these different things from people that you were with from before, all this garbage. So forgive them and move forward. So, this is just a little, my opinion on it. Honestly, you can either take it or not. It's up to you. I don't want anybody to think that I'm, trying to school them, or that I'm trying to, like, tell them what to do or anything like that, because as adults, we do what we want. This is just something that I was reading and I got into, and I thought it was so important because I know I personally have been through a lot of this, and it's still, haunts me today. But it's getting better because I wanted to get better, and that's where you have to come and make a decision as to where do you want your life to be. You either continue to live your life like that, or you want to move forward and live the greatest life you can live. You only have one life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to be having different types of videos like this, different subjects and stuff like that. Of course, we're going to do makeup and all that other stuff that we so much love, but just wanted to go ahead and put this video out, and I hope you enjoy it. Again, if you are not subscribed, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell for any uploads. And just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this, and God bless you, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.